Near Dakar, Senegal, lies the enchanting island of Gorée. This small island just off the coast is a place of striking contrasts and deep history. It's a colorful place with an important story. The streets are alive with vibrant hues, from the colonial buildings painted in bright colors to the lively markets where locals sell their wares. When you visit, a nice breeze greets you. The gentle wind carries the scent of the ocean, mingling with the fragrance of blooming flowers. The air smells like flowers, and you can hear music in the distance. Street musicians play traditional tunes, adding to the island's charm and creating a serene atmosphere. The buildings on Gorée show its history. Each structure tells a story, from the old colonial houses to the historical landmarks that dot the island. Pastel houses line the streets. These charming homes, with their soft colors, create a picturesque scene that is both inviting and nostalgic. They have fancy balconies and wooden shutters. The intricate designs of the balconies and the rustic charm of the wooden shutters add to the island's unique architectural beauty. You can see French, Portuguese, and Dutch styles in the buildings. These influences reflect the island's complex history and the various cultures that have left their mark here. Gorée is beautiful, but it has a sad story. The island's beauty is contrasted by its dark past, which is a poignant reminder of the human capacity for both creation and destruction. It was part of the slave trade, and that reminds us of how cruel people can be. The historical markers and memorials serve as a solemn reminder of the island's role in this tragic chapter of history. This sad history is still a big part of the island today. Visitors come to reflect and learn, ensuring that the stories of those who suffered are never forgotten. The museums and memorials are places of reflection, where the past is honored and remembered. For a long time, Gorée Island was a big part of the slave trade. This small island, located off the coast of Senegal, played a significant role in one of the darkest chapters of human history. Its strategic location made it an ideal spot for European traders to establish a foothold in West Africa. The island's natural harbor provided a safe anchorage for ships, and its proximity to the mainland made it a convenient point for the collection and transportation of enslaved Africans. From the 1400s to the 1800s, European countries used the island to trade goods for people. The Portuguese were the first to arrive, followed by the Dutch, the English, and the French. Each of these colonial powers left their mark on the island, building forts and trading posts to facilitate the exchange of goods, including human lives. The trade was brutal and inhumane, with people being treated as mere commodities to be bought and sold. Millions of Africans were taken from their homes. They were captured in raids or sold by rival tribes, often in exchange for European goods such as guns, alcohol, and textiles. These men, women, and children were then marched to the coast, where they were held in forts and trading posts like those on Gorée Island. The journey to the coast was often deadly, with many perishing from disease, starvation, or violence along the way. They were brought to Gorée and kept there before being sent across the Atlantic. The island served as a holding pen, where enslaved Africans were imprisoned in cramped, dark, and unsanitary conditions. They were held in dungeons and cells, often for months at a time, awaiting the arrival of the ships that would take them to the Americas. The conditions were horrific, with little food or water and no medical care. Life on Gorée was awful. The enslaved people endured unimaginable suffering, both physical and emotional. They were separated from their families and stripped of their identities, forced to live in constant fear and uncertainty. The island's buildings, many of which still stand today, bear silent witness to the horrors that took place within their walls. People were kept in small, dark rooms. They suffered terribly. The dungeons were overcrowded, with little ventilation and no sanitation. Disease was rampant, and many died before they could be shipped across the Atlantic. Those who survived the journey faced a lifetime of enslavement in the plantations and mines of the New World. The island was a place of cruelty and sadness. The pain and suffering experienced by those who passed through Gorée Island left an indelible mark on the island's history. Today, the island stands as a somber reminder of the atrocities of the slave trade and the resilience of the human spirit. The slave trade left a permanent mark on Gorée, The island's historic buildings and landmarks serve as a testament to the millions of lives that were affected by this brutal trade. Memorials and plaques have been erected to honor the memory of those who suffered and to educate visitors about the island's dark past. The island reminds us of this terrible time in history. It is a place of reflection and remembrance, where visitors can learn about the horrors of the slave trade and pay their respects to those who endured it. Guided tours and educational programs help to keep the memory of this dark chapter alive, ensuring that it is never forgotten. Today, it helps us remember how bad slavery was. Gorée Island serves as a powerful symbol of the need to confront and acknowledge the past in order to build a better future. By remembering the suffering of those who were enslaved, we can work towards a world where such atrocities are never repeated. The House of Slaves is a museum on Gorée Island, located off the coast of Senegal. This island holds a significant place in history, as it was one of the largest slave trading centers on the African coast. The museum stands as a stark reminder of the atrocities committed during the transatlantic slave trade. It reminds us of the bad things that happened during the slave trade. The plaques and signs throughout the museum provide detailed accounts of the brutal conditions and inhumane treatment that enslaved people endured. These historical markers serve as a somber reflection on a dark chapter in human history. When you visit, you can see how much people suffered. The exhibits are meticulously curated to convey the harsh realities faced by the enslaved. From the cramped quarters to the sparse living conditions, every aspect of the museum is designed to evoke a deep sense of empathy and sorrow. The House of Slaves is a sad place. Walking through the empty rooms and dark, narrow corridors, you can almost hear the echoes of the past. The silence is haunting, and the atmosphere is heavy with the weight of history. You can almost feel the pain of the people who were kept there. The small rooms, the heavy chains, and the shackles are stark reminders of the suffering endured by the enslaved. These artifacts are not just historical objects. They are symbols of the resilience and strength of those who lived through unimaginable hardships. The door of no return is perhaps the most poignant feature of the House of Slaves. This door, which opens to the vast ocean, was the final exit point for countless enslaved people who were shipped off to unknown fates. Standing at this threshold, one can almost feel the despair and hopelessness that must have gripped those who passed through it. Visiting the House of Slaves is a powerful experience. The emotional reactions of visitors are a testament to the profound impact this place has on those who walk its halls. Many are moved to tears, and the experience often leaves a lasting impression. It makes you think about the horrors of the past. Guided tours provide in-depth discussions about the historical atrocities committed during the slave trade, offering a comprehensive understanding of the events that transpired. These tours are not just educational, they are a call to remember and reflect. The museum tells the stories of the enslaved people so we never forget them. Through informative plaques and guided narratives, the House of Slaves ensures that the voices of the past are heard and that the lessons of history are not forgotten. It is a place of remembrance, reflection, and education dedicated to honoring the memory of those who suffered and persevered. Today, people visit Gorée Island to remember and heal. People whose families came from Africa travel there from all over the world. They want to honor their ancestors. The island is a symbol of hope and strength. People from different places can come together to think about the past and work for a better future. Gorée Island's story is important for everyone. It reminds us to fight for fairness and equality. It reminds us to make a world where terrible things like slavery never happen again. Gorée Island isn't just about its history. It's also a place with lots of culture. There's music, art, and a strong community. You can hear drums and children playing. The island mixes African and European cultures. You can see this in the buildings, the food, and the traditions. Visitors can go to markets, try new foods, and learn about the island's culture. On Gorée Island, the past and the present live together. History isn't just in museums. It's part of everyday life. Gorée Island is a great place for artists. The island's beauty and history inspire creative people. Painters, sculptors, musicians and storytellers all find a home on Gorée. The island's art is a mix of old and new styles. Visitors can visit art galleries, take classes, and buy art directly from the artists. The art on Gorée Island tells stories. It helps people remember the island's history and share it with the world. Tourism is important for Gorée Island. It gives people jobs and helps the island. People from all over the world visit Gorée. They come for its beauty, history, and culture. The island has places for tourists to stay, from small guest houses to hotels. There are also many restaurants with different kinds of food. Gorée Island wants tourism to be good for everyone. It wants to protect the island's special character. Visitors should be respectful of the island and its culture. Like other islands, Gorée has environmental problems. The sea level is rising, the coast is eroding, and tourism has an impact. The island needs to be protected. Local people and groups are working to save the island. They want to protect the coast, manage waste, and make tourism sustainable. Protecting Gorée Island is important for the people who live there and for future generations. Gorée Island shows us that people can do bad things and good things. It reminds us of a terrible past, but it also shows us the good things happening today and gives us hope for the future. Visiting Gorée Island changes you. It reminds you to remember history, learn from mistakes, and work for a better world. Gorée Island is more than just a place. It's a story, a symbol, and a call to action. You will remember it long after you leave.